Alright everybody, I'm going to do kind of an odd quick tip for you, and I say quick tip, it might be a little longer than normal, but we meet once a week, and during those meetings we have stuff out we're working on, we have junk that we brought in that we're taking apart, and it gets pretty cluttered. Now we've been blessed with a good amount of space. This will really hit home to you guys out there that have a limited amount of space. I'm going to talk about organizing stuff. There's certain ways we organize it, or else we can't move down here after a meeting. I'm just going to show you a few things around that we do, and you'll see the junk you see around is from tonight's meeting, and it just kind of goes to show you, and this isn't even a bad one where we get a lot of stuff in. Let's just walk around and I'll kind of show you some of our organization stuff. This is probably the oldest section of our shop that we started with, and you can see there we've done one video on this wheelchair tear down, and we're going to finish that one day, I promise. But you can see it's still sitting here in the way. But we started with these things that I got from a local hardware store. Now these work good for us, and they still do. They're a little limited on space, but as you can see, we've got everything labeled. We went from this, we've got these bigger tubs for our wire, and you can see how packed this stuff gets. And we've moved to bigger tubs here. These work great, and I'm not trying to be brand specific, but these are Sterilite, and we like these because they're square. There's a more rounded version, but they just don't quite hold as much. These Sterilites work great. I think the Home Depot has a home brand, or like an in-store brand that's the same shape too. But these are $1 a piece, these boxes, and they work great. They stack up. We've had to go to some bigger ones for stuff we have a lot of, but the important thing is everything's labeled. Everybody in the club knows where stuff is because you can clearly see a label on it. It's real easy when you got a bunch of guys and girls together to find stuff. We have sometimes 6 or 7 people here, no less than 3, working all the time. And this works in any, whether you've got an electronics lab, maker space, just a general workshop. This is pretty good organization. I would recommend this. Over here we've got our toolbox that we keep organized. We've got some more of these. It's got our cables and stuff that we use in it, and some chemicals here. And a lot of this stuff, like these, like I said, we got these from a hardware store, and they were free. They were throwing them out, and these have worked great. We had a lot more of these to start with. They just got a little small for us. Bolts and nuts, these things I highly recommend for bolts, nuts, screws. These particular ones are Stanley. You can get these, a little smaller version of these from, I think it's Harbor Freight. Pretty cheap. I like these because you can actually pick the containers up out of them and take them to the bench and work on them. And I just built this cabinet to house them all, and you can see everything's pretty organized over here. People know where this is in the club. Nobody's asking if they're unfamiliar. You can see where stuff is. Same kind of deal here. We've got our small components over here. These bins, everybody's probably familiar with these. These work great for us. These little dividers work great. All the way down here that we've got more of these type bins full of stuff. But the key is to throw a label on it. It's real easy to just throw a label on it when you do it, and you'll know what's in those containers. And this really keeps us organized, keeps stuff up off the floor. Everybody knows where it's at. And as you can see, so we got that wheelchair. This is our bin that usually we fill this up every week, and this is all we've got sitting around, but we've got a lot of stuff just sitting around this week, and this happens every week with us. And you kind of see the importance of keeping it organized. If we didn't keep this organized, we'd have this stuff everywhere, every week. So I hope that kind of give you a sense of, or some tips on organization. I know it's kind of a boring subject, but I think it's a very important subject, especially if you're working in a small space. We have a pretty large space, but if you're working in a small space, it's really important. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope maybe you saw some stuff that or got an idea that you normally wouldn't have from that.